This instructional video is going to be on writing inequalities from word problems and solving inequalities from word problems and graphing inequalities from word problems. So the first thing I want to start with is our chart, and I have put a copy of this chart on our Edmodo page. I would suggest that you either copy it onto your own sheet of paper or print it so that you can have it right next to you as you're working on your homework. So this takes keywords for each of your inequality symbols. For example, this symbol is our greater than symbol. We know that a key term is greater than. Also, we could have the key term is more than. We could have the key term is larger than or above. For our greater than or equal to symbol, we know that we read this greater than or equal to, but some other key words that we may see in word problems are minimum, at least, is not less than, and is not smaller than. Next we have our less than symbol. We could also see the terminology is smaller than or the terminology below. Then we have our less than or equal to, which we can see the words maximum, at most, not more than, and is not greater than in our word problems. So we want to look for these key words in the word problems and have them as we're working on our homework. Now, you are going to have to learn these terms and know when to use them for testing purposes because you're not going to have the chart on a test. So you may want to make it 4 index cards, and on one index card have the symbol, and then on the other side of the card have the key terms. So let's look at some examples. All right. There is more than 12 students in the band room. So our key word here is more than, and then the number that we're given, or the value, is 12. Okay? Now how we get an inequality from this is that we don't know how many students there are in the band room. So our variable is how many students, and I'm going to use an X to represent how many students there actually are. Now it says that there's more than 12. Which means we don't know how many there are, but we do know that there is more than 12. Okay? And the more than, if I look in my chart, I see that the more than is with the greater than symbol. Okay? The lunch table can seat at most 20 students. Okay? So I have my key term at most, and my value is 20. I don't know how many there are, but I know that at most there can only be 20. So I'm going to look up here at my chart, and I'm going to find the terms at most. Okay? So it goes with the less than or equal to symbol. So X is less than or equal to 20. So our inequality for the lunch table can seat at most 20 students is X is less than or equal to 20. Alright, Molly made less than $150 babysitting. Molly made less than, so we have our terminology less than. I'm going to look up here in my chart. Is less than, goes with our less than symbol. So we're not sure how much money she did make, so we're going to assign a variable. But we do know that she made less than $150. Okay? And our final one, the maximum the school can sell car magnets for is $10. So the school wants to sell some magnets, and they have some options as to how much they want to sell the magnets for and make a profit, but they can't charge more than $10. So it says the maximum that they can charge is 10. So we don't know how much they're going to choose to charge, so we assign a variable, X. But we know that the maximum they can charge is 10. So we're going to come up here and we're going to look for our word maximum. And it is in this column for less than or equal to. So x is less than or equal to 10. Okay, so I'm going to go through, I'm just going to check all of these, make sure that my term matches, and they do. And so this is how you assign and the reason we assigned a variable is because, again, we don't know how many students were in the band room, but we know that there was more than 12. So again, whenever you're reading a sentence, you're going to want to make sure that you know which inequality symbol to use. So print this list of key terms and use it as you're doing your homework. Okay? Alright, so next we have graphing solutions to inequalities. Again, this is 4 pieces of information that you really just need to let it sink in and just know it. Okay? Whenever we see a less than symbol, that should tell us that we have an open circle at the value, whatever x was supposed to be less than, and our shading goes to the left, because on this number line, if you go left on a number line, the numbers decrease. If we see a greater than symbol, now we know that we need to shade to the right, and a greater than symbol is an open circle. If we have a less than or equal to circle, it's shaded and we're coloring it to the left. And then if we have a greater than or equal to, then our value is circled and shaded, and the number line is shaded to the right. So again, this piece of information, you just need to let it sink in, so that whenever you see this symbol here, you know that you're going to have a closed circle and shading to the right. And when you see this symbol, you'll know that you're going to have an open circle and you go to the right. Okay? The math comes in determining what that value is. Is x greater than 3 or is x greater than 50? So that's where the math comes in. But just knowing whether or not you're going to have an open or closed circle and whether or not it is being shaded to the right or to the left comes from the symbol. Is it a greater than or less than symbol, or is it a less than equal to or a greater than equal to? So let's go back to our examples. Our first one, there is more than 12 students in the band room. Now we decided that the fact that there was more than meant that we should have x is greater than 12. So now on my number line, I'm going to have an open circle at the value 12. I know it's open because this is just greater than. So it's an open circle. My value is 12. Okay? And now I need to decide if I'm going to the right or to the left. Any value I put in for x needs to be greater than 12, which means I can put in 14, 15, 16. So that means I'm going to be going to the right. Okay? Alright, our next example was the lunch table can seat at most 20 students, at most. So we said that x was less than or equal to 20. So now we have 20. Now notice that we have less than or equal to. And again, we had to commit to memory that when we see less than or equal to, then we're going to have a shaded circle, because that means it also includes the number 20. And then it is values less than, so that tells us that we need to go left. Okay? Because think about it, your lunchroom table. You can have 5 people sitting there, or you can have the maximum of 20 sitting there, but you can't have 25. The tables weren't built that way. There wouldn't be any seats for those students. But there could be less.